I would like to welcome you all. I hope you had a good breakfast and now you are again charger for the panel discussions. So the panel discussion, the theme is gearing up startups in ICT sector through latest technology and innovations. The session moderators would be Professor Dr. G.D. Singh and Mr. Bharat Patel. We have Mr. Swapnil Tripathi from Prototypes. He is our incubation partner also for this. From SIBA, Mr. Venugopal will be joining us. He's late due to some prior commitments. He'll be joining us. So I would like to give a floral, I would request Mr. Amit Joshi to give a floral welcome to Mr. Swapnil Tripathi. Mr. Tripathi. Thank you very much for coming, sir, and being part of the summit. Thank you very much. Now, I would request Bharat Bhai to please take this forward and also invite all the awardees to share their views also.
Thank you, Purvi. Good morning once again to all of you. We're going to the next session, which is gearing up startups in the ICT sector through the latest technology and innovation. I'm sure all these startups have made something which is innovative, and that's how they become startups. And they should really understand what's the difference between a startup and they become an entrepreneur, and the difference between an entrepreneur and a business. So because a businessman would just scale up the existing business and not have anything which is to do with innovation. And I think what we are going to do is, along with me, we have Mr. G.D. Singh and Mr. Swapnil here. The other panelists will also come around in a short while. But let's start with a very short 2 minutes for each, or 2 or 3 minutes for each one of you and those who have won the awards. I would want and just give a glimpse of what you have done and what is different that you've been able to do. So may I invite first the Agile Business Solution representative from Mr. Brown, please. You can just speak about what innovation that you have been doing and what's new that you have been doing.
Yeah. I've started back in, first of all, a very good afternoon to all. Let me introduce myself. I own 3 companies. Okay. For one is Agile Business Solutions, which I have started back in 2009. After that, in 2013, I have co-founded Startup Mentor with Mrs. Girija Nair, and third one is Kindle Career Private Limited. See, in 2010-11, when there was very huge recession, and I was working with a very big IT giant, okay, we were almost on the verge of losing our jobs. Then me and my partner has started Agile Business Solutions, and I was working as a software developer, and my other partner who was working as a marketing. He was working with a company as a marketing executive, and what I was developing, he was marketing the same thing. So we started in 2010, and we have got our first client as from one of the premium construction company. And after that, there was we haven't looked back, and success. We have got lots of success and we have achieved lots of laurels as well. And let me tell you that nowadays nowadays every startup, whichever startups I met, everybody is looking for funding, that I need this amount of funding, I need X amount of funding, Y amount of funding. But let me tell you, we have grown 10 times in 6 years, and we haven't got a single funding from any of the company, and I have funded 2 companies.
Fantastic.
We have started with just a small from our salary savings, that was almost like 5,000 to 6,000 rupees, and with a laptop, and we have one 2-wheeler. But in the span of 6 to 7 years, we have grown 10 times. We have our own. We have 2 offices in Pune, one in Mumbai, and right now there are 10 to 11 employees which are working under us. That's all. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. So this shows if you do a different thing, it's done in a different way. Perhaps this innovation can lead you to a growth which is 10 times or maybe even 100 times. So I think this is fantastic, and a big round of applause for him for his fantastic growth. I think as it is normally seen, that the customer should be put in center. It is the user interface, the user experience. So everybody needs to understand this. And I'm sure, with this agile methodology that you might have used in your business profile, I think that has perhaps made a difference in what the business could have been scaled up. Congratulations once again. Now, may we have the second startup, which is the Startup Mentor, the Women Startup Entrepreneur of the Year, Ms. Girija Nair. Is she around? Okay, I think we'll have it later. Okay, the next one is Revisha Eco Design Solutions Private Limited. Anybody from there? Please.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Udit J. Banker. I'm Director of Revisha Eco Designs. Now, I'd like to give you a brief of what is that we have in Revisha Eco Designs as a solution for entire India. Now, Revisha Eco Design is a professional organization which intends to address the global agenda of reducing the carbon emissions and restoring the natural beauty and the bliss of this pale blue dot of our solar system. That's our Mother Earth. This we intend to achieve not only just through innovations and the affordable solutions, but through collective experience and the passion of all our team members. Now, when we talk about the innovations, when we talk about sustainability, the first thing is reducing the carbon emission. If you keep it in mind, we came up with a product which is 100-year-old, which was invented in the US in Missouri, but it was not in India. That is called expanded clay aggregate. I've put in the small flyers in each of the table. Now, this product is such a simple product, which is manufactured from a natural mining clay, which is the family of bentonite. Now, this clay is fired at 1200 degrees, and it becomes an inert product with all the versatile applications touching every industry, which is the heart of our country. May it be from saving water, about 50 to 60%, which is the need of an hour for India. We do not have water. If we think that we have water, it's a complete hallucination what we are living in. We are working towards reharvesting of the sewage and converting the same into the potable standards. That is one of the innovation what we have showcased in United Nations in Malacca. The other applications is, this is such a versatile product that's going in for the constructions, for the lateral load reduction, for the structure with the thermal insulation. We are probably the only one today in India who are proud to announce that we are giving a solution of thermal insulation at 1/3 of the cost of an air conditioning. So that is a permanent solution. If you're in 100 square feet room, if you're thinking that you have to put a 1-ton AC and you're going to be spending 26 to 30,000 rupees, probably we are giving you a solution at 6,000 rupees, and that's one-time installation, it's all over. You get a temperature difference of 11 degrees. So these are the kind of solutions what we are working on. We are ideating, we are working together in tandem with the entire team, and our customers are starting from the biggest of the companies to the smallest of a farmer. Everybody can afford ECA, that is, everybody can afford. This is expanded clay aggregate. Now, we have a background of 18 to 20 years into pharmaceuticals and into innovations where we have been working with the generic companies across the globe. Innovation is definitely a heart of us, and we'll keep on continuing doing the same, wherein we bring in the affordable solutions which are absolutely economical and everybody can just go in for it. And it is not any kind of rocket science where you have to really think about 5 times whether you have to go for it or not. So it's the future generation what we keep in mind. At the same time, money is given. Money in any business is given, and you're going to be creating a value, and money is definitely going to come to you. Thank you.
This is a wonderful thing that he has been doing, and he's addressing perhaps the most vital issue, which most of the people forget. And generally when we talk about startups, I think almost 80-90% of the people think about IT as a part of the startup and nothing else, But there are so many other areas which are more required in terms of sustainability and eco-protection of this world. If you have questions, please keep asking, because it's very interesting.
Mr. Banker,
Please ask, yeah.
we would like to understand more on what kind of product range is there on the offer for the people, and how practically it can be utilized by industries, or maybe in the daily routine life.
Yes, okay. I'll give you a brief of the expanded clay aggregate. I've not gotten the samples today, but you guys can send me an email. I'll be sending you over. They are the clay aggregates which are in size of 0 to 30 mm. Now, if we talk about, say, any of the plantation, any of the indoor plantation or any of the outdoor plantation, what is the first concern that you're going to be addressing? And like, just give me a very simple example in any house. Like, I remember my dadima, she used to always complain to the Mali that tu pani nahi dal raha hai, tujhe tera pakar katogi. You understand? So it's a very simple thing, but the issue is the compaction. The more you keep on watering a plant, the soil is going to be compacted. The aeration is going to stop to the root system, and the good bacteria growth is going to stop. Further, what is it that a plant needs? It's the nutrients. Why is it that every vegetable that what we eat today or the fruits what we're having, they look very good and fresh, but it's full of pesticides? Using expanded clay aggregate, you are addressing the issues of the complexity of the soil, the aeration, the compaction, the nutrients feeding, the thermal insulation, less watering, and all these things, and still having a wonderful growing plant. So this applies in all the permaculture applications where we address the agriculture as whole of India, because in today's scenario, the seasons are bad. You have just had an experience of Kerala. Last year it was Brahmaputra, and we are undergoing a massive, massive, massive destruction everywhere. And trust me, it's going to be worse every year. Every year it's going to be worse, because the time when we were small, we used to go out of our house playing cricket at 2:30 in the afternoon. Today, I bet you cannot do that in Gujarat in the summers. You cannot do that. You'll get a heat stroke, you'll die. So who is responsible for it? It's we. And who's going to bring the solution? It's we. How are we going to do it? The product is a natural inert product available in Gujarat, and it's available in plenty, and it's being used. If any farmer or every farmer or an agriculturist, may it be a rich guy or a small guy, poor guy, what is it that he wants? He wants that his agriculture yield has to be taken care of, irrespective of the monsoons, irrespective of the bad weathers, irrespective of all the different problems that he's going to face. Still, he should not suffer. And you cannot blame the government all the time. The government has not done the canals, the irrigation is poor. The government is also full of human beings. We are not magicians, they are not magicians. So end of the day, you have to have certain solutions for everybody which is going to auto-correct the system or the processes what you're following on a day-to-day basis. Now what about earthquakes? Let us talk about one of the scenario of Gujarat and Bhuj and Anjar or the places where we had hit by earthquake. We have a lot of scenarios of Ladakh or probably Sikkim and where we are seeing the landslides. What about the destruction and the refurbishing of the entire city? Again, it's a big effort. Why is it that we do not apply this simple solution in the geotechnical applications? Now give me an answer, like, if anybody has seen, I have seen every time that everybody blames the municipality. Roads kache hai, har barish ke baad it's going to be a big problem. Why again we are blaming? Rather, you apply this expanded clay aggregate as a drainage layer, entire world is using it. Because anywhere and everywhere where the drainage is going to suffer, the roads are going to break. So they're using it for the runways, they're using it for highways, they're using it for the motorways, they're using it for probably for the metros also. So this is each and every industry, including the construction, the agriculture, the RCC, PCC, you name it, the engineering, the thermal insulation. On the whole, air conditioning. Again, if you're running this air conditioning, if this slab was probably giving you a temperature difference of 11 degrees, you would have been saving a lot of money. So backward integrate this, and you are running the power is coming from coal, again you're going back to the trees, and again you just understand the entire ecosystem you're suffering. We all are suffering because of somebody's non-applying of the right solution at the right place. So again, water. So why is it that everybody cannot, we have a solution, it's very simple, and you'll be surprised. The simplest solution comes from, the world's best things are always free, you know that? A beautiful sunrise, nature, they are free, but we make it complicated. So we reharvest the water, and the same water is again used for the landscapes and probably for the refurbishing the cooling towers or the system and the flushing and things. So how much of water you are saving? Why are we playing with the groundwater tables? Now every industry, if they say that, okay, Udit, your solution is not good for me, then stop drinking water. If you are saying that this solution is not good for me, okay, then I don't know, God bless you, the day earthquake hits you, you're going to be dying. Or probably the thermal insulation, then you have to also play with the heat, because everything and anything that you do, it needs these basic solutions, may it be IT or may it be any infrastructure.
Very true, I think. So, excellent. I think this calls for a big round of applause for a beautiful innovation.
Thank you so much, sir.
Fantastic.
Mr. Banker, one more thing which I would like to understand from you is when did your company started?
Rivasha Eco Design had started in 2015, 2015.
So in these 3 years, what have been your major challenges?
major challenges is the acceptance level. And acceptance level, so we had the challenges what we have faced with a common man and probably with the government or ministers or whosoever, but it's not right to pinpoint at anybody, but the thing is acceptance level is very low, not in our country, in every part of the world. It's we humans, we always tend to believe that we know everything.
And what's your business model in terms of marketing strategies and
Marketing-
how are you aligning yourself with the marketing plans?
We have our production base, which is called as Nexus, and Nexus, the entire team, we have been ideating on a very rigorous way. We have been working with IITs. We are developing the products. We are developing the solutions. At the same time, we are registering the product with the central government, with the National Building Code Council, with the BMTPC, with CPWD, with NECOF, who is taking care of the agriculture of India, and with the water department, which is going to be taking care of the Ganga cleaning. So now if I look at the entire scenario, and then there is infra groups who are already into the infrastructure, so they also have to adopt this if they are not doing the government projects. And when you talk about the low-cost housing, we are working very closely with Niti Aayog as well, which is Narendra Modi's, our PM's innovation body. So we are working again with the farmers alone, and also we are working with the individuals, explaining them for using the expanded clay in their houses or probably in the setups. So any and everybody is my client.
Very nice, lovely.
Fantastic.
Everybody.
Fantastic, once again. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, and we wish you a great success.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Excellent, and he very rightly mentioned about, and I would like to add to it, what he mentioned is, sometimes the things are made complicated. And I normally defined a human as making simple things complicated. That's what a human is. And, so we tend to make it very complex rather than making it simple. And, as Mr. G.D. Singh was rightly asking him questions, which is relevant to all the other startups as well here, that you should understand what is the kind of a business model, what's the target audience that you're trying to pitch in, what's the philosophy that you have behind your business. So understand when we are asking these questions, they are also relevant to others. So it's extremely important for all of you to understand, and what others have done, maybe something could be useful to you. Now, I would just like to ask one more question here before we go to the next one, whether you have patented this or not. Yeah, because it's very, very relevant, because when we are creating an IP, whether the IP is protected well or not.
When we talk about the water innovation, that is under the process of patent. But when you talk about the expanded clay aggregate, it itself is a very old product which was invented in 1917. But any of the applications that we go ahead with the expanded clay aggregate, may it be a potting media for the soil or for the agriculture, we can definitely think of patenting it. But we are wanting to keep it open.
Wonderful.
We have actually invited the government to encourage more 100 factories, because there is no competition. Even 100 factories are no competition to us, because we only believe in that we excel, we don't compete. Because India needs
Very
it.
nice, very nice, fantastic.
I think we need more companies like you in India to see a better world and eco-friendly.
Right. Okay, now may we have Hemal Soni from Jewelry X Marketplace Private Limited? Please, Hemal.
Hello, everyone. Well, I belong to a specific industry. A lot of you might not know exactly how that particular industry ecosystem works. But one thing I can assure you, everyone knows, until there is woman on this earth, jewelry will be there, and she will make sure all of us male will pay it. Simple as that. So, my background is basically, I'm in IT since last 22 years. I lived in UK for many years. My family background is they are jewelers. So the jewelry itself, making jewelry is in my genes. Of course, I don't do myself. I'm not a craftsman. But when we talk about innovation, startups from this stage and any stage of India or in the world, startup and innovation, we work for a particular community. Those people are already innovators, already startups or whatever it is. They are craftsmen. India is known for its handmade jewelry and excellent craftsmanship across the world. But the problem is directly being an Indian vendor, we cannot sell things directly to the consumers. There are many reasons. It could be transparency, it could be price factor, it could be quality, so many things. But the reason we are working behind is we want to help this community not to obsolete. Because day by day, people are not getting involved in this trade for so many reasons. Now what we do is, there is a statement from Government of India, there are approximately 5 to 6 lakh business in this country, those are associated in this industry. But when we ask about where are they, there is no specific list. When we are living in a technology era where Mr. Bharat Bhai said earlier, roti, kapda or makan, I'm saying fourth one is internet. That is the fourth most important element, without that we cannot live. And this community, I'm talking about the unorganized community, which is 96% of itself from the whole industry. 96% of this industry do not use or adopt technology for getting organized. So we are helping them to get organized. We want them to be first in the world. I tell you what, India is number 3 in this particular industry. We are number 3rd in terms of supplying. You'll be surprised to know India generates second largest revenue of export from this industry. Yeah, India consumes 1/3, 30% of the gold available from Mother Nature. We consume all of them. And we are the number 1 supplier of diamond, polished diamond and cut and polish from India. Still, we are not number 1. The only fundamental reason is these people, they don't adopt technology for making the process much more easier and simpler. So that is what we do, and that's what we're trying to make sure that by 2023, 5 lakh Indian businesses should be digitized, absolutely digitized, should be connected with each other, and should be number 1 in the world. That's what we do.
Fantastic, fantastic goal that you have.
I would like to understand in a better clarity what kind of problems you are addressing with this business. Because I think, मोटा अगर हम देखें तो आपका जो बिजनेस मॉडल है उसका ख्याल आ जाता है, लेकिन उससे क्या प्रॉब्लम्स को हम एड्रेस करना चाहते हैं, या व्हाट एग्जैक्टली वी वांट द आउटकम टू बी is what I would like to understand in the layman's language, so that we all can understand what your products are.
Okay, I'll come to the products later. Let me tell you a little bit brief about the ecosystem, how this industry works. Let's take an example of a seller and a buyer. Typically, a seller goes to a buyer with some amount of products in his bag or in his whatever, the way he's traveling. So now, when we're talking about traveling a product in his bag, so a person living in Mumbai, he wants to sell something in Delhi, for example, he carries his product, I'm talking about gold jewelry, kgs, say about 5 kg product in his bag and traveling from Mumbai